when we were in the TUF house, we got to go watch the Contender Series. And one night, we're there, and Snoop Dogg and Uriah Faber had their podcast at the time, the Snoopcast upstairs. So I asked Dana, I'm like, what are the chances we can meet Snoop? And he was like, yeah, I'll bring you up there right now. So he brought us up to his office, and a few of the girls were like, ooh, it smells good up here. He was like, well, you guys should come down to my trailer. So we walked down the trailer, and he ends up pulling out like 3 big blunts like this big. And our producer comes in. He's like, no, we can't have this. And Snoop's like, who is this motherfucker? Get this motherfucker out of my trailer, and kicks him out of the trailer. So yeah, that was probably the best experience, and like the most 100% like dream come true experience in the TUF house. But it was a great experience overall. The training, being around the girls, like Justin Gaethje and Trevor Whitman as my coaches, who are the greatest human beings, and then surrounded by the highest talent of girls in my division. So it was amazing, and it was also boring as anything. Yes, I do partake. I actually have a medical marijuana sponsor, but USADA does measure the levels of THC in our system, but only when you're in competition. And in competition is 12 hours before weigh-ins, and then as soon as you take your post-fight drug test. So it's really a 2-day period that they're monitoring THC. Other than that, they test me year-round. Like, they come to my house year-round and test me, but at that point, it only matters about steroids. I'll be fighting Taila, I believe it is, Santos, and it'll be in Saskatoon, Saskatchewan. So back in Canada, back in my home nation, and it'll be June 20th. So we're 4 months away right now. Got a lot of time still, but I'm looking forward to it. She actually fought one of my teammates, Mara Romero Borrella, and that's her only loss right now is against Mara, and she's 15-1. Besides her fight on the Contender Series and her fight against Mata, she hasn't really fought any real opponents. Her first 14 fights were against pretty much debuters, against girls who are 0-1, 1-0. So yeah, the last 2 fights are the only ones I've watched. She seems to have decent Muay Thai and decent wrestling defense, but I feel like once I put her on her back, it'll be my world. It's definitely frustrating. Even right now with this fight that I have coming up, it's 4 months away. So it's not like I can go straight into camp right now. I'd probably burn myself out if I had a 4-month camp. So I'm just always getting better every single day, training 2 to 3 times a day, usually when I'm out of camp, and just making sure that I can be in the best shape possible. And I just want to be the best at this. It's not even about being necessarily better than anyone else. I just want to be the best at this sport. So just getting myself better every day, seeing myself improve it every day. That's what matters to me on my months off. I'm always taking any super fights, jiu-jitsu fights I can get, no matter what. I try to stay active. Growing up, I never really played any competitive sport. So I feel like now's my time where I need to get that competition experience, and I'm trying to catch up a little bit. And so I try to compete as often as possible in jiu-jitsu. Yeah, I was 16 when I started training, and in Florida, you can't fight until you're 18. So I had to wait 2 years to take my first fight. But it was 2 months after my 18th birthday that I took my first fight. I loved it, and I kept on going along with it. And it was just sort of okay, I'm good at this. Maybe we could, when I was an amateur, I was getting brought down to Coconut Creek to work with Tisha Torres. And it's just grappling with her and seeing how well I could do with her when I was an amateur. It kind of put it in my head, okay, you can hang with the highest of the high around here, So it's maybe you can actually make it somewhere with this. So it gave me a lot of confidence when turning pro. I feel like everybody was kind of surprised. It was kind of I'm a little bit more socially awkward, shy kid. I always, was teacher's pet. Never really spoke out in class too much, and I grew up with volunteering with animals. So it's I volunteered at the Humane Society, at horse rescues, at wildlife rescues. Just, I never really, it was kind of out of the blue that I even decided to try kickboxing. I don't really know where it came from. And once I decided it, though, I fell in love with it. I just started with a cardio kickboxing class, and it happened to be at Dean Thomas's gym. So it's I've worked with him since I was 16 years old. And then I started doing MMA and started doing jiu-jitsu after that, and I was just hooked. I like him a lot because he lets me think during fights. If you watch him during any of my fights, he'll probably say 2 or 3 things. You hardly ever hear him talk, and it's because he feels like I should be making my own decisions, and that's how I'm going to be able to develop better decision-making skills is making the decisions in those high-paced situations. So he just lets me do pretty much what I want, and then if he really needs to say something, he'll say it. But usually he just lets me play my game. Savage_UFC on Instagram and Twitter. And then watch me June 20th in Saskatoon, Canada, as I fight Taila Santos.